Hi. This is my attempt to relate all those haunted and paranormal encounters I personally experienced in the past 40 years. And I hope to illustrate as detailed and accurately as possible according to the actual event. These are absolutely genuine and I kept them until now, to share with everyone. I hope you are ready. Let's begin. Before we begin, please help to subscribe to the channel. It will not cost you anything, but your subscription would meant a lot to me. So please go ahead and click on the subscribe button now. And, please share it with your families, friends, and colleagues on all your social media platforms, so they can enjoy these stories too. Let's continue. The last episode is about my one-year stay in Bangkok, Thailand as a service engineer. It happened one day when I visited my customer. This was how it all started. Back then, there was no sky train or subway yet. Traveling within the city is either taking the tuk-tuk, hitching a ride on a motorcycle, taking the bus, or hailing a cab. Outside the city, you will have to take a train, take a plane, or book a limousine. At that time, there were no mobile phones or laptops, so sending messages was done either by fax or using the mobile pager. The mobile pager was a bulky piece of device where the operator will send the message to you based on the caller's request. So, when my Thai pager rang, I always have to find someone to translate the message for me. That day was a Friday afternoon when I received the pager message. A customer in Lot Prau need my help to rectify a problem with a machine, so I hailed a taxi and headed over. As usual, I need to report to the guard house to register and call the engineer to escort me to their production floor. Then, they will escort me into the production area where we cut through the production floor towards the newer production area. Not long after, the bell rang for their shift change. Then I was told that the following 2 days are their public holidays, and the factory will be shut down until Monday morning. That's why everyone was rushing to finish their jobs that day before the holiday. The workers started to leave one by one after they were done, leaving me and the engineer in the entire building. The engineer grew a bit impatient, and I suspect he was rushing off for something. By then it was already 7 p.m. when I told him that I am done and that I will need a little bit more time to pack up, and I suggested that he can leave now and let me lock up the place for him. He happily agreed and left without a second word. Then all the lights were shut off, leaving only those lights around me. I assumed that the engineer turned them off on his way out. After the engineer left, I perform a final check before I pack up. I was all alone in the entire building this time. Finally, as I was leaving the room, and heading towards the light switches near the exit door, all the lights went off, leaving only the lights from the corridor and the exit door sign. I thought it must be the security guard turned them off remotely while overseeing me through the CCTV monitor. So, I slowly find my way back to the guard house to return my visitor pass. There were only 2 guards on duty that night. When the guard asked if I have helped them to switch off all the lights, I told them I thought they shut it off remotely. And they do not have any surveillance cameras in that new production area, not to mention any remote lighting control capabilities. So, I had no choice but to go back and countercheck if the lights were actually shut off. However, I requested that one of them accompany me to do so. My experience tells me that something was not usual. Those lights turning off by itself definitely was fishy, which was why I requested one of the guard to accompany me. To my surprise, when we arrived at the production floor, all the lights were lighted up, and I am very certain that all the lights were off when I left this place earlier. As we shut off the lights one by one, we notice a dark shadow standing at the back of the room. We thought it was some sort of reflection. However, it seems like the shadow was waving at us after we shut off all the lights. Then the security guard shined his torchlight at the dark shadow, but the apparition disappeared into thin air. The security guard then tried to call the other security guard over the walkie-talkie. However, there are no response, only sound of static.
Breaker 40, come in, over. Breaker 40, come in, over.
The brave security guard had no choice but to look around using his torchlight. After confirming nobody was hiding anywhere, he decided to call his buddy again using his walkie-talkie. Still there were no response from the other end of the walkie-talkie. so we decided to head back to the security guard house. After ensuring all the lights were definitely shut off, we left the production floor immediately. Although the security guard tried very hard to conceal his fear in front of me, I can feel that he was extremely petrified deep inside. The light of the torch light gave away his real emotion as his hand was trembling seriously. Finally, we arrived at the guard house. His colleague was surprised to see the security guard turn pale and sweating profoundly as the man tried to explain what happened just now. I was so scared to go back to my hotel room that night, so I asked if they knew any temple that was still open so late at night in Bangkok. So, they hand me an address to show the driver. However, I had no luck hailing a cab that night. I ended up grabbing a tuk-tuk. I didn't know where I was going, and I thought the temple might be closing soon. Therefore I promised to pay the driver 3 times the fare if he can get there within 30 minutes. The driver was speeding with all his power that night. Finally, we came to a stop and the driver pointed me the direction. It is the infamous four-faced Buddha, located at Erawan near Ceylon. After all the prayers and offerings, I felt calmer and better, as I started to grab something to eat for my dinner nearby. Very soon I was back in my hotel. Around my hotel were very busy and crowded. I felt even calm and almost forgotten what happened earlier. And I visited more temples during the weekend. On Monday, I went back to the customer during the day to follow up on the service status of those machines. I told the engineer the incident that night and he was shocked to hear what happened. He said now he knew why that 2 security guards chose to quit immediately the next day. Soon the incident was escalated up to their management, and they believed the ghost was their old worker who died from heart attack during work. They hired some Taoist priest and perform a very grand rituals to bless the place. Since then it had been peaceful and no one have seen the dark shadow again. Many of us may be fascinated or curious to know about the afterlife. Believe me, if you can see them, it may show that your fate is poor. Generally, we are not supposed to see them even if we are living in a parallel dimension. Only on specific conditions, we are able to cross the barrier to travel to the next dimension, and vice versa. So they might not know if you can see them most of the time unless some kind of interaction has been established. If you have any experience you would like to share, please feel free to share it in the comments area below.
If you like the content of this video, please click on the like and subscribe buttons. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you will be informed immediately whenever I uploaded my next video.
Let's continue. This event happened on one of my business trips to Shenzhen. I booked myself in one of the 4 stars hotels, conveniently located in Lo Hu. I can still remember that I took the first flight out from Singapore that Saturday morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position. Make sure your seat belt is securely fastened and all carry-on luggage is stowed underneath the seat in front of you or in the overhead bins. Thank you. Cabin crew prepares for landing.
Soon after, my flight touched down at Hong Kong Chek Lap Kok International Airport.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hong Kong Chek Lap Kok Airport. Local time is 7:15 a.m. and the temperature is 23 degrees Celsius. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain turns off the fasten seatbelt sign. This will indicate that we have parked at the gate and that it is safe for you to move about. Please use caution when opening the overhead bins, as heavy articles may have shifted around during the flight. If you require assistance, please remain in your seat until all other passengers have deplaned. One of our crew members will then be pleased to assist you. On behalf of the airline and the entire crew, I'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a nice day.
Clearing the customs was smooth and fast early in the morning. After retrieving my luggage, I went straight for the bus stop. I went straight to the information display to check for the correct bus and bus bay. The bus trip took approximately an hour from the airport ground terminal center to Shan Sui station. The Shan Sui MTR railway station is right at the bus stop when I alighted from the bus. After getting the train ticket to Lo Hu, I went straight to the train platform. From Shan Sui to Lo Hu takes about approximately 6 minutes, then everybody alights from the train and rushes for the immigration. Between Hong Kong immigration to Shenzhen immigration is only approximately 600 meters apart, but it takes about an hour sometimes to cross the border during peak hours. Getting past the immigration that day was quick and smooth. Before noon I was already outside the Lohu immigration building. My hotel was merely less than 30 minutes walk from the border. Very soon, I arrived at my hotel. The 4 Stars Hotel was one of the best hotel you could find in Lohu. The reception hall was huge and grand. Since I was a frequent guest of the hotel, I was given a junior suite on the 11th floor. The room is all the way right at the end of the hallway. The suite was very spacious and it comes together with a living room. After unpacking my luggage, I started to freshen up myself and headed straight out. Then I ate some dim sum for lunch at one of the restaurants inside the hotel. One of my favorite pastime was foot massage, a place that was cheap and I could learn more about the locals from the conversations with the masseurs. While I was having my foot massage, I was trying to get in touch with my local friends to set up for a gathering that evening. We decide to meet at a pub first since some of them still needs to finish their work before meeting me. By the time everyone arrived, I must have drank half a dozen of beers by then.
Cheers!
Then someone suggested it's time to go for some dinner, and we ended up in a hot pot restaurant. After dinner, another friend suggests that we shall go to a KTV. It was the most popular recreation at that time. And we sang all the way until 2 a.m. in the morning, until the KTV closes for the day. By then, most of us were tipsy, and all of us decided to go for a late supper before going back. When we were done, it was already coming to 3:30 a.m. on the Sunday morning. And I decided to walk back to my hotel since it wasn't too far away. The atmosphere was stale and quiet in the hallway, as I walked all the way to the end to my room. By the time I opened my door, I was so tired and drunk that I just wished to head straight to my bed. However, I forced myself to stay awake and head for the shower because my entire body was soaked with all the smells from the cigarettes and hot pot smokes. By the time I finished drying my hair, it was already 4:30 in the morning. Although my body was very tired but my mind was quite awake. And I can sense that there was somebody present in my room. So I slowly open my eyes and try to peep if I can see anyone. Shockingly, I saw a lady wearing in white cheongsam floating across the living room at the end of my bed. Although I was scared, I pretend to be calm and ignore that I am able to see her, and I tried to turn away in order to avoid the scary sighting. Then I can sense that she is coming nearer to me, and therefore I open my eyes slightly trying to peep again. At this point, goosebumps raised all over my body while my heart rate starts to accelerate. And then slowly, I saw her bending down her head to my pillow, right in front of my face. Her eyes stares right into my eyes. Her eyeballs turns wider as her pupils dilated. You can smell a faint rustic satin in the cold air within the room. She kept staring at me, as I continued to pretend sleeping. My whole body was shivering and sweating cold sweats, but I don't even dare to move my body at that moment. After a while, I found myself immobilized and then my vision completely black out. I didn't know what happened to me then. When I woke up it was already Sunday noon. After a short recollection of what happened last night, I jumped out of the bed immediately. I quickly dressed up and packed up my luggage. I went straight to the front desk to check out. The hotel was shocked to hear that I was leaving ahead of time. Although the hotel did ask me why I wanted to check out ahead of my intended stay, but I don't think they will believe my story at that time. Therefore I just told them it's due to some last minute changes to my business schedules. After that incident, I actually went back to stay at the same hotel, but I will refuse to stay in corner units or at the 11th floor. When we are conscious and awake, we will always tend to think what we see and feel is real. Sometimes it could be our brains playing tricks on us, or sometimes it really happened. Join me in my next episode entering the 4th dimension, and I will share with you what's on the other side.
If you like the content of this video, please click on the like and subscribe buttons. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you will be informed immediately whenever I uploaded my next video.